Hello everyone, today I am going to be going through who I think the 5 future F1 stars are going to be that are in the current F2, F3 and Formula 4 and even Formula Regional ranks, and if I think they have the potential to be a Formula 1 winner or even just driver in general to be. And let's get straight into it with probably the most exciting Formula 1 driver there has been for quite a while, and that is of course Yuki Sunoda. Just 2 years ago, Yuki Sunoda was completing his Formula 4 season, and now 2 years later, he has been announced as AlphaTauri Formula 1 driver. This is big news because obviously he only did 1 season of Formula 3, 1 season of Formula 2, and now he's going up into Formula 1 with the AlphaTauri team. And he's replacing Danny Kvyat. And the results he had in Formula 4, Formula 3 and in Formula 2 were pretty remarkable, considering they were all only his debut seasons. And considering in Formula 3 he was driving for probably the worst team, and he beat all of his teammates by a country mile in all of the championships that he competed in the last 3 years, especially in Formula 3. And these results are definitely worthy of a Formula 1 seat, and I think he is going to be Japan's best F1 driver to this day, beating the likes of Kobayashi, Sato, and Aguri Suzuki. And he is definitely a prospect that should not be. He's no mean slouch. In Formula 3, he finished 9th in his rookie season. That might not seem impressive, but he was driving for Gensler Motorsport, probably one of the worst teams on the grid. No offence to Gensler, but you just don't have the financial backing, okay? And in Formula 2, he was driving for the Carlin team, which, to be fair, is a very, very good team. But last season, Prema had the best setup of all of the teams. And then it was probably Virtuosi and then Carlin. Tsunoda managed to get 3rd in the championship, which was a brilliant result, considering in the first race of the season, he collided with his teammate on lap 1. He ended up finishing 3rd in the championship, took a couple of poles and multiple race victories, and beat his teammate, fellow rookie Jehan Daruvala, who beat him in Formula 3 the previous season by quite some margin. Although, to be fair, Daruvala was running with a worn engine for most of the season. And you have to say that he is good enough for Formula 1, and he is a talent that I will say now is definitely a champion in the making. Number 2, Théo Pourchaire. Théo Pourchaire is one of those drivers where you just look at his stats and think, wow, what an incredible driver. His Formula 3 season with ART was second to none, and personally was my driver of the season this year in Formula 2. Probably only just ahead of Clement Novolak, who will also be on this list. Pourchaire is just a remarkable talent, and he is definitely a future Formula 1 champion, and definitely a future Formula 1 driver, and maybe a champion. And he, considering it was his rookie season in Formula 3 first of all, and second of all, the fact that he wasn't driving for the best setup team. Prema definitely had the best setup of everyone, and that's no doubt about it. Considering that, he only finished a few points behind Oscar Piastri. And another stat that might amaze you guys, Piastri was driving in Formula Renault Euro Cup, which the previous season, which is between Formula 4 and Formula 3, sort of like the Formula Regional Championship. Now they've merged, and won it, whereas Pourchaire went from French F4 and ADAC F4 to Formula 3, and finished only a couple of points behind Piastri, and finished ahead of Logan Sargent, who had already done a season of Formula 3 with Carlin. So those results, I have to say, would give proper recognition to Théo Pourchaire and the fact that he is a future champion in the making. Now we move on to number 3, and I just mentioned him, Clement Novolak. He is a very, very talented driver and potentially might make it to Formula 1 one day. He won the Formula 3 championship in Britain and competed in the Formula 3 championship this year, the official Formula 3 championship this year. And he was driving for a team which wasn't well backed, considering they were focusing on their Formula 2 programme, and that was Carlin. And he finished 10th in the championship, taking numerous podiums and putting in some really good results. And these results were amazing. No wonder he was testing in Formula 2 this year, and I have to say he is a contender for the 2021 Formula 3 title, alongside the likes of Dennis Hauger, Oliver Caldwell, Arthur Leclerc, and maybe even Jack Crawford. And he is a brilliant driver. The only problem he has is which nationality to choose. He was born in France, grew up in Switzerland, but has a British license. He's basically the younger version of Tom Blomqvist. If you don't know the story of him, his dad's from Sweden. He was born in England but grew up in New Zealand, so I mean the reason why, and he sounds so English despite the fact that he grew up in Switzerland, and the reason why is because he went to a British school. Not only that, but he did a lot of his racing in Britain. And these results will probably give Novolak a Formula 1 seat in 2024 or 2025, because he's going to have to do another year of Formula 3, obviously, because finishing 10th or so in the championship isn't enough, even though obviously Sunoda got through. But the reason why Sunoda got through was because he had backing from Red Bull, whereas Novolak has no backing. So he's probably not going to be able to get into Formula 2 until next season, if he does get in the top 5 in the championship. And hopefully he will get into the Carlin team, provided Dan Ticktum has had a good result in the championship. He moves up into Williams in Formula 1, and George Russell goes to Mercedes to replace Lewis Hamilton. And providing that happens, Novolak should be in Formula 1 by 2025 or 2024, provided there is a driver academy who will financially support him and give him backing so he can get into Formula 1 one day. And now we're going to move on to my final prospect. And this is a man who's had a good and a bad year. And this driver is called Felipe Drugovich. And actually, he's not had a bad year. He's had an incredible year. Now, I would say that his Formula 3 campaign was a big failure. Despite this, though, MP Motorsport, being the clowns that they are, decided to pick him up for the season. And at the start of it, I was like, why the hell did they pick him? And not someone like, Yuri Vips or Liam Lawson. But it turns out that risk totally it was worth it, as Drugovich took 3 wins this year. A couple of them were sprint race wins, but still, 3 wins, and beat his much more experienced teammate Nobuharu Matsushita in the championship. And it doesn't matter that Matsushita didn't take part in the last couple of rounds of the season, because Drugovich was already ahead of him by miles anyway. Drugovich put on incredible performances, and considering he finished 20th in Formula 3 the previous season, these results should have him in a driver academy. But somehow, no driver academy has added to him to their collection. I would imagine, though, that a team like Renault would really like to have him in their system. And Drugovich will be driving for UNI Virtuosi next season, a team well known for its Renault links. So you never know, he might end up getting a driver academy link with anyone, because obviously Ilott, who drove for UNI Virtuosi this year, has Ferrari backing. So that's why I think Drugovich is a good driver. In his first season of Formula 2, with a team that isn't well known for having much success these days, he manages to finish top 10 in the championship and take numerous wins and beat much more experienced drivers, such as Matsushita and Artem Markelov, of course. And that is why I think he is good enough for F1. So, if you guys did enjoy this video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing, and I will see you all for the next video. First of all, sorry for making it over 10 minutes. I tried to get to the point as quickly as I could, so I'm not stretching my videos. Bye guys!